All right.
Hello, everybody. My name is Allison Holly. I am a sacred sexuality coach and an intuitive guide. And this is an interview for my podcast, the True Creator Podcast, that I'm also now putting on YouTube. And I started a project recently where I wanted to interview leaders of the new to give everybody inspiration and understanding of what it feels like to be in that new energy, and just some really good guidance as to how to turn our attention away from the drama and
Mm.
into creating this new beautiful world that we're already in. So today I have the amazing Chris and that's your cue.
That's it.
And I'm so excited to have you here, Chris. Do you want to say hi and introduce yourself?
Yes, Life and Light Star friends, greetings.
Oh.
So, yes, I'm Chris from Peaceful Human Advancement. I'm sure that's how most of you recognize me by now. PHA, Peaceful Human Advancement. And I'm really honored and excited and joyful and grateful to be here with Allison. Our friendship expands a couple years and we've done some other work together. So, I'm not surprised that we're orbiting at this space and time again, for this podcast. And an extension of gratitude to you, Allison, for stepping into your power and really being one of those leaders. So thank you for leading by example.
I felt that.
Yeah, it's true. Yeah.
I'm so excited to interview you because I feel, when I got the notice about a week ago, it was this feeling of, wow, this is something that's really going to be of benefit and bring a really unique and new energy to the people who listen to my podcast and anyone who really has been following me. I feel like you're going to add sort of a piece that makes a lot of sense to all
Awesome.
of the people. So, so you did mention peaceful human advancement. Can you tell me a little bit about what you're doing, your calling, what you're here for, and what you're doing presently?
Yeah, so starting with what I'm doing and why I'm here, I always tell people I'm here because humans are ready to take the next step forward, right? Humanity, the consciousness of humanity is ready to become an interstellar people, right? And that involves different avenues. And so I'm here as a guide, as a leader, as a cosmic peaceful ambassador. Really, that's the short and sweet of it is I'm here on this earth in this form to bring ancient wisdom from the stars, cosmic understanding of how to apply energy, thought, become powerful, true creators here now, not wait for some, big event to happen, but to really harness the power that we all have, that we always have, and that we always are, and allow that to translate into our 3D or our physical existence. And then, on we go. So that's my mission, is to prepare humanity to be an interstellar species, a peaceful interstellar species, responsible, powerful, and sovereign beings. So
Amazing.
That's why I'm here.
Yeah. I love it. I love it. And for those of you who are listening who maybe all of that might be new news, I know that there are a lot of people who feel that and who fully understand everything that you just said and are like, yes.
Yeah.
But for people who feel like that's something new, I would just invite you through this interview to feel it within yourself and see what sparks and what energy shifts within your own body as you're listening to this interview. So if it's new, let yourself be open and curious, because everyone is from the stars.
Right, whether they know it or not.
Yeah, even if we've been here for a while. So right. I love that. I'd like to ask you, and I know you and I met a couple years ago. So what has been your journey? How did you get to know your purpose so succinctly?
Oh my goodness. How long is this podcast supposed to be? How did I get to where I am? I'm actually writing a book about this, ironically enough, because it takes me that long to explain it to people.
Yeah.
But I'm going to summarize this. I've always had paranormal, supernatural multidimensional experiences ever since I was a child. I remember seeing shadow beings. I remember having very vivid, lucid astral projection experiences. There was one time I was having an experience. I actually went through the mirror in my bedroom.
Wow.
And I remember going through the mirror and being like, I'm awake, but my body's not. Like, how is this all happening? And I've had so many vivid dreams, and I really started connecting, as a young child with the dream space, right? So that was a huge catalyst, is having these multidimensional experiences as a young age from dream space. And the second catalyst would be kind of towards my preteen years, right? Not like toddler phase, but preteen. I started to have experiences where I'd meet people, but then they disappear.
Interesting.
So I remember one time being in church. I was raised Christian, and went through that whole process, which was beautiful because I learned a lot, and now it all makes way more sense now than it did before. But I was in church, and there was this, it was one of those huge churches, everyone's singing and dancing and kind of falling over and doing all this stuff. And I'm like, wow, this woman taps me on my shoulder, and she puts out her hand. She was dressed all in white, and it was almost like everything was still for a couple of moments. She puts her hands out, and intuitively I just went like this, like to receive something. And she dropped in my hand the little symbol for the fishers of men that Jesus used to talk about. So if you remember, Allison, you remember that symbol? It's like the Jesus fish.
I've seen it before. I've seen it before.
So she dropped that in my hand. It was this little metal emblem that she dropped in my physical hand, and it was physical. And she just looks at me and she smiles. And then I turn to my mom and I say, look what this woman gave me. And she goes, what woman? There's no one here. I'm like, she was right. And she was literally just gone. So, but I still had the little emblem that she gave me. My mom said, don't ever lose that. And 2 days later, it was gone. but it's, but it's here, and the energy of that experience has transcended just the physical object itself, right? So I've met many people in this way where they would show up, offer some piece of information, and then kind of just book it out of there. And I personally think that I've been guided my whole life, even when I had my troublesome years and went through all this stuff that humans go through as they're awakening. Something would always happen that brought me back to who and what I truly am. Fast forward a couple of years ago, I was outside in our old home, and I was actually taking a pee off the side of the deck. I hope that's okay to say.
You can say more than that if you'd like.
I was going potty off the side of the deck. And you can do that whenever you live in the country, right?
Right.
And it was a beautiful night. There was super clear skies. And I actually was looking over the tree line, and I saw this huge orange glowing light. It was huge. It started to rise up above the tree line. I'm just staring as I'm peeing. I think I might have stopped peeing out of shock and was like, what is that, Now, this is someone who has had many experiences, but to have people talk about ETs and aliens and stuff all the time, but to see it in real time is quite literally life-changing, and it's leading to this moment now. So it rises up as this beautiful orange, yellowish orb, glowing, and then starts to move across the sky. I run inside to get my fiance. I say, come look at this. And she comes out, and it starts to move across the sky right over our house. And then all of a sudden, it gets really bright, and then it starts to develop this tail. And it's not a meteor, because shooting stars don't go up, turn,
and then move.
and then move. So, and I teach about all the difference between all the sky phenomena. So this UFO or UAP actually, unidentified aerial phenomena, which is, I guess, the correct term nowadays, or IAP, or identified aerial phenomena, because the government knows all about these beings. So
and they just announced that recently.
Say it again.
Did you hear they just announced that? The government announced that they had been seeing them, and almost nobody noticed
I know
that announcement because we're very wrapped up in the other. So yes,
this is exactly, this is where it all it all literally leads back to the stars. Like it's,
Yeah.
and that's not just some like spiritual phrase. There's scientific and even quantum metaphysical explanations for that statement of the stars. So
We'll get
object,
back to that.
yes, the object goes, gets really bright, develops its tail, and then just literally slowly just starts to fade out. And so I get on the phone with my friend Mike, who you know from the work we did with the Heart Center, and he says, Chris, I'm so glad that you called me and I get to give you this message. He's like, prepare for contact. Like they're gonna start showing up for you. And I was like, okay. He's like, but listen, whenever you meet them, you know, you're an equal in spirit and consciousness. Show up as a leader. Don't show up as like like, you know, worshiping them. So that was really powerful, that he gave that message.
Yeah.
And so that also is, I've had many experiences like that now. I remember one time Anna and I were actually reading this book, Chariots of the Gods, right here. This is a beautiful book by Eric von Daniken. Sitting in the living room, we were talking about, wouldn't it be so nice just to actually meet these beings and actually talk to them? And all of a sudden we hear this noise. It's like, and I'm like, what in the world is that? So we both get this elated energy flowing through our bodies. And we were so surprised, but also in awe of this beautiful sound. And I was able to think, and I said, wait, I think that's them. I think they're communicating. And it was this feeling of, you weren't able to say it's coming from over there or over here. There was no like place it was coming from. It was just kind of in the field of, it was just in the field. Yeah. And you picked up on the vibrations. No cars outside, no planes, no, nothing. It was just a direct response to our request to want to communicate with them. So, I mean, I could keep going with kind of what's led to this. I have this on my Instagram channel, Instagram page, where the ETs, where the beings came through the phone, or actually speaking through the phone. I made a recording of this, slowed it down to where you can hear the message. And to summarize this question up, Allison, as to why I'm here and kind of what's led to this, the message that you're here on Instagram is, listen to yourself. They cannot control you. They cannot hurt you. So it was a timeless, powerful message, not just for me, but for all of us, to listen to ourselves, to really put ourselves in congruence with what we truly are. And when you do that, you're home free. They can't control you. They can't hurt you. They can't do anything to you, because you have become one with that which moves through everything. So
yes. And when you say they, can you clarify who they are? Are you talking about, this is a message coming through saying, don't worry about the ETs? Or is it more talking about Earth people right now, governments and things like that? Is that what you're referring to, or what they were referring to?
Yeah, so whenever they said they, or whenever I can now comfortably say whenever we said they,
right?
Yeah, the they is all of it. Anything that takes you out of your vortex and understanding and alignment with your authentic self.
Absolutely.
Now, they, for this time and space, we're speaking, it could be related to what's going on with the virus and everything.
Right.
Kind of the fear mongering. Now, that's not to say that people aren't having difficulties, but it's to recognize the bigger picture.
Yes.
What you're seeing, what they meant was, what you're seeing is a manifestation of the human psyche. This has to play out in this way.
It does.
But you can also then look at over here and recognize things that, like you're doing, Allison, with this podcast, and say, we are creating this reality, right? Nothing that's not in the vibration of love is sustainable.
Amen.
Love is the only thing that's sustainable. And again, this goes back to the quantum theory of everything, that love is actually a scientifically proven formula now, which is very interesting for people to understand. That formula we call sacred geometry, right? So when you're in alignment,
it all circles in.
Yes. Whenever you're in alignment, you're moving from the vibration of love. Now, everything that's built on the vibration of love can last and continue on and sustain itself. If it's not, it crumbles. So
Mm.
humans have been unconscious to the degree that we've built an empire, perceived empire, on fear, lack, and worry. So that's not sustainable. So we're
Right.
seeing that crumble. Now,
Absolutely.
becoming a true creator is like, okay, how do I take this energy and move it and shift it and create my reality? So when they say they, anything that's taking us out of that understanding of what we are.
I love that clarification and thank you. And I love that message. What a powerful truth.
Mm.
And to have it delivered, I'll say at being a starseed or
Mm.
someone who this is,
Yes.
first lifetime here, my conception of aliens or ETs or any
Mm.
of that interdimensionality
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I like that
is
word.
is so loving, and it feels so warm
Mm-hmm.
to my heart. But there are
Mm-hmm.
a lot of people that I've encountered that the idea of that causes a lot of anxiety. It makes them feel that something can be harming them. And this is really, it
Mm.
sounds like so much of your work is showing people, look at how beautiful, it complete love these beings and these energies
Right.
coming through to actually be that they are us, right?
Right.
To we
Yes.
consciousness, and
Yes. Yes.
that
Yes.
they're totally loving,
Right.
and
And
truly there can't be contact made, especially at this point, if there's not love there.
yes, and that's exactly what I was going to say. So thanks for
Okay.
that telepathic vibe there.
Maybe we're just already
Yeah, it's
communicating.
but it's true, and what you're saying is equally powerful, because a lot of people, what people are realizing right now, in this shift that we're going through, is they're realizing all the things within them and externally that aren't able to be maintained any longer, right? So,
Mhm.
excuse me, the fear of the aliens. I don't even like saying that, but we all know what that means.
Yeah.
Extraterrestrial, the galactics, really has been part of this oligarchy meant to keep humans suppressed, point blank period, and afraid of something other than, a 9 to 5 or something other than this or that, right?
Yes.
So once you start to understand more of your own truth, your own star heritage, you then recognize yourself as one with all things. And if you're
Mm.
one with all things, that level of consciousness instantly raises your vibration to where now any being who's coming to Earth in a starship has to be equal to that vibration, which means they cannot harm you. In order to become interstellar, the first thing that a species has to learn is self-love for its own form, and then for its collective people, and then for its planet, right? So humans right now cannot leave planet Earth, to a certain degree, because we're destructive. We're moving out of that phase.
We are.
But once you get to a different vibration, you're able to travel and go to different planets, incarnate, and do all this stuff because you've learned the lessons of universal peace. And so my gist is that the beings who are coming to planet Earth now are only coming from vibration of love. They can't be anything else, or else they would not be able to access our atmosphere and all that. So
Absolutely.
yeah, there's
I
nothing
love
to
that.
fear.
It's funny because I know it's an interview, so I want to ask you all the questions, but it's also getting me so excited, because reminding me of my personal experiences with this, and just
I
we'll
know.
talk a bit more outside of this interview. But I
Yeah,
do want to ask you because I'm like,
go for it.
oh, this and this and this. So I
I
do
love
want
it.
to ask you. You mentioned your star heritage, your
Mm.
star heritage. Can you talk about what yours is and how you came to discover that?
Wow, interesting. Yeah, and before I would say no because I didn't care, because it wasn't
Okay.
right. And this is, and that sounds harsh, but this is what I mean.
Yes,
I'm always the kind of person who uh, I didn't want to chase anything. I wanted to experience it for myself, because
absolutely.
that's the only way I can know if it was true, is if I was experiencing it. So
Mhm.
because people have asked me the same thing, I was like, I don't know, and I'm not going to try to find out until
Yeah.
it's time for me to know, because at that time then I'll be able to act on it from a deeper knowing and understanding. So
Mm-hmm.
with that said, I was putting this off for the longest time, right? I was like, I don't care. I don't want to. I think I'm Pleiadian, maybe, I don't know, Arcturian, who knows? But just kind of going with it, having experiences, being present with the moment. Until until
Until.
this is what I mean, like with time, like you know what you're supposed to know whenever you need to know it, right? So
Yes.
I had this experience, and this is going to answer your question. I think it was an astral projection. I was walking with my fiance, and we're walking through this field, and all of a sudden there's this big green hill. And I tell her, I say, okay, listen, I have to go up on top of this hill now. You have to stay here. It's time for me to go. And I close my eyes because it's such a vivid and beautiful remembrance. It takes me back to that moment every single time. I go to the top of the hill. I see all these starships, these white starships, these golden starships flying everywhere. It's so peaceful, so beautiful. One of them lands at the bottom of the hill. I start walking down the hill, and then there's this group of people. And then these group of people are just kind of staring at me, and they're human. They're in human form. And they all kind of feel like they're not feeling well, kind of like a little run down. Next thing you know, boom, I'm inside a building, and these group of people start to separate. Now, in the middle of this group of people was this being, and we make this the most intense, beautiful, transcendental eye contact I've ever made with a being, my whole entire experience that I can remember. There was so much said, sent, and received through this eye contact. So much love, so much genuine, like almost brings me to tears, like thinking about it, you know, just love and instant connection. He was shorter than me, had a smile. His eyes were this beautiful bluish purple skin, no hair, not very like bulky, very slender, right? And so
very tall, or
he was shorter than me. I'm about 5'9", 5'10", so he wasn't super tall. And so he smiles, and the smile was kind of like a message. This is all telepathic communication. No words were spoken. So I know I'm supposed to go with him. So I walk over to him. He reaches out his hand, and so I'm holding his hand, and I remember thinking, oh my God, like I'm holding hands with the ET. Like this is what it feels like. It was such a visceral experience. And so the next thing you know, boom, we're in a different room. And now there's this human sitting on a medical table, sitting up. He's coughing. He's not feeling well. He's like all pale. And so the little being gets on up on the table, and he starts going boop, 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 and like touching all these pressure points. The guy's complexion completely changes. And then all of a sudden, the guy, he sits up, and he's like, oh, like, I feel so much better. And so the being just says, you know, bye. And he healed him. And the last thing he did, he kind of went like this, and he brought his fingers like this and like down over his eyes like that, like the three eyes. And so I asked the being, I say, how'd you do that? Or like, what's your name? And I see the letters ARGULUS come up. So Argulus.
okay.
And I'm like, oh, this is this is actually really happening. And I asked him, I said, how did you get here? You know, assuming that he was on Earth. And he says, do you want to know a secret? And he gets this huge, like, giddy smile on his face. He grabs my head gently, and he puts his hands here. His thumbs are on my third eye, actually. And then he connects our third eye, and he says, I'm not here. And then I see him get smaller and smaller and smaller, and I start to fade away. And I'm like, oh, my God. So I went to him, right? A couple months later, someone sends me a picture, and they're like, do you know this being? And it's an Arcturian. And I'm like, there it is. I said, yep, that's the being I've seen in my visions. And then I kept getting these symbols through my visions, and they were all Arcturian symbols, right? And so you just have to, I just realized over time I couldn't ignore it. So to answer your question, I think the Arcturian lineage is where I'm stemming from. And I now know this as a fact, based on a whole bunch of things that we probably don't have time to get into today. But yeah, Arcturian, and probably a little bit Pleiadian, but mainly Arcturian is where the homies are for me.
You're bringing tears to my eyes, because there's such a sense of connection with what you're saying. And, you know, having had my own experiences of connection with my lineage, I know the feeling. And what a beautiful story. Thank you for sharing that.
Yeah, you're welcome. And I hope this helps other people too to recognize, like, to listen to yourself, right? To really
Yeah.
listen to yourself.
Mm-hmm.
Not yourself that is trying to limit you and keep you from listening to yourself, but the self that is speaking to you all the time. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
Amazing. Beautiful. Beautiful.
Thank
So
you.
bright. So
Yeah.
bright. I just want to feel
Mm,
that. And
mm,
I like what you were alluding to, and let me know if this is accurate, that it kind of also doesn't matter in the sense
yes.
of, because we are just like we're discovering we are one world of people. There are
Yes. Yes.
separations.
Yes.
So it's not a hierarchy. I'm from the Pleiades and I'm from Andromeda. It's a
Yes.
recognition and a
Hmm.
beauty that we can experience. Kind of
Right.
like, the way that I used to describe it when I discovered my lineage was, it's sort of like, because at the time I felt very lonely, and I don't anymore,
Mm.
which is really lovely. But so I just put that out there because I know there are so many star
It's,
seeds
it's true. Yeah.
that
Hmm.
are feeling that. And when I discovered my lineage, it was so helpful because I used to say, imagine that you were born in France and then you were immediately brought over to the US and raised in the
Mm.
US, and everything, it makes sense. But there's always this feeling of, this isn't quite as familiar
Mm.
as it is for other people. And
Yes.
that feeling is that kind of starseed feeling, is how I think
Yes.
of it. So
Yes.
discovering, oh, I'm from France, and
Yes. That's
and
it.
then being able to have some of that within me, then I can function in the US,
Right. Yes.
So,
Exactly. Exactly. I
I
love
can
that.
function in the world. Yeah.
Yes. That's exactly it. And in both those points, one, recognizing that you are truly more, even the people who originate from Earth, right? So we have the star
Absolutely.
seeds, but we actually have the Earth seeds too.
Totally.
Even
Yeah.
if they originate from here, they still are not human. Human is just an expression of consciousness. That's
Yeah.
it, right?
Absolutely.
And the second we can recognize that, now that's our anchoring point, because now we don't get caught up in the lineage of being Native American, being African, being Caucasian, being Pleiadian, being Arcturian. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So now we are rooted in that knowing of who we are infinitely. But then the second part of that is, once we do connect back to the home that feels the most serene, for me, it is Arcturus. And yeah, it feels like Arcturus. Then I feel like my power comes online even more, because now I'm pulling the wisdom from the stars and channeling and allowing those lineages to pour through me, yet
Absolutely.
not attaching to them, right?
Hmm.
It's kind of like you can swim, and if you get into water, you can swim, or you can get into the boat, right? And the boat is like gonna power you wherever you need to go to. So
Yeah.
connecting to whatever starseed lineage becomes your point of kind of power for whatever they represent, right? So the Arcturians, the Pleiadians, the Syrians, we all have our little niches, but
Hmm.
it becomes kind of an ego trap. And I feel safe
Yeah.
saying that, um, attaching and kind of separating yourself as,
Yeah.
I'm this, you're that, you're here. It's all light, it's all God, it's all love, it's all truth,
Yes.
expressing on a billion different planets in a billion different ways. And this is why we both do this work, to get people to move into that unity consciousness
Right.
vibration.
Right. And,
Get it? Yeah.
I want to mention this because I feel like it leads into, it's so beautiful. This is just
Mm.
an amazing interview. I love it. And I love you, and I'm so grateful for you.
Yes. So I love you, Allison, too. Alice, awesome. Yeah. What you got?
So, yeah, so I want to just mention this little story because I feel like it leads into the work that you're doing now that I really want to talk about.
Yeah.
But briefly, I did an ayahuasca ceremony once. And I remember as I was going into the medicine, I said, I really want to know more about where I'm from. Already knowing a
Mm,
bit of my lineage, but really wanting to feel that
really to
and
anchor into it.
anchor into it. And
Mm.
so the snake appeared, the anaconda that appears to so many
Mm.
people, and
Ooh.
immediately was right here in front of my face and said, "You're on Earth now." Boom. And then I went into a 6-hour ceremony of learning about Earth,
Wow.
because the message with that was, I'm not here to learn about where I'm from. I'm here now. Be here now.
Right.
And
Be
so
here now.
it is that beautiful balance of, some of us
Yes.
really need to know to help our purpose. We really do need
Right.
to
That's it.
know.
That's the key.
And we're
Right.
longing for it. And if that's
Yes.
the case, then yes, explore, but also be here.
Be here. Yes. And honestly, the day I realized that that was the message,
Mm.
everything else flowed so much easier. Like, family life, just every single thing was like, oh, well, that makes sense, because now it's a double entendre. It's also a catch 22. I learned about my star heritage, which made it easier here, which
Yeah.
made it easier to connect back there.
Yeah. I love that. I love that.
What it really is offering the law of non-resistance, right? I offer no resistance to the present moment. There's some, if you can note this, there's some really powerful mantras I want to share before the end of this interview that I think people will really resonate with, that assist them in making this transition into the new. And before the next question, I'll share this experience with you really quickly about
Yeah.
how kind of all the form dissolved.
Mm.
So we were outside making contact with our star friends, which I would love to talk about if we have a moment. But I was doing,
Yeah.
connecting with them. And I went into meditation, and all of a sudden I'm now above Earth. And then I'm in this beautiful room, right, with it's a beautiful white room. And
Mm.
all these beings are there. There's many different beings. Some of them are tall, some of them are short, some of them have fur, some of them have 2 heads, some of them have scaly skin, some of them
Mm.
look like human. But there was a lot of beings in this room. And again, pure love, but the forms were crazy. I was like,
Yeah.
yo, wow.
Star Wars
Wow.
is real.
Yes. I was like, wow, which is funny because I actually haven't watched a lot of the Star Wars movie, although I feel like I'm from the Star Wars.
Yeah, yeah.
I feel like I live it. Anyways, I'm in this room with all these beings, and again, telepathic communication, everyone's intention clicked, and we all decided to sit down in a circle and meditate together on universal peace and ascension for Earth. And this was done a few years ago. We all sit down, and as we're sitting down, everyone's form, their outer appearance dropped. And all that was there was these pillars of light. We were all just these pillars of light, just myself included, just sitting there meditating. And then the intention was known to start to project, which y'all can see. Oh my God, this is crazy in this moment. I'm having like a wah moment. We started to project this white light from the center of our chest out into the center of the circle. This is so crazy for me right now. My whole body's vibrating because now I understand why I wear this hoodie all the time. Anyways, so this light gets really big in the center of the circle. Once it gets big enough, we then intend it to go down to the earth and cover the whole entire earth in just pure love and the highest vibration you can think of, whatever word you want to call it, samadhi, universe, whatever word. We cover the earth in that energy. But this couples back with, it doesn't matter where we're from. When you become conscious of who and what you are, the form drops away and you become a being of light, embodying a human experience, embodying a Pleiadian or Arcturian experience, embodying the experience of a caterpillar, of an ant, of a chicken. You see what I'm saying? So it really is unified field consciousness, learning about itself through every single facet of existence. That's why you can't judge anyone or anything, because it's you. Period.
You. All things. I love that. Oh man, there are so many tangents that, not even tangents,
Yeah.
there are so many directions that we could go with that. For people who are just listening and not looking at this on YouTube, can you describe your sweater, what you're wearing?
Okay, yeah. So
That connection that you just made.
yeah, so that connection, this was just recently, I guess a couple months ago, but could have, I don't know what is time. But I was in meditation just in my house, and I was meditating, and I saw this symbol, and I drew it, and it was a triangle with someone sitting or standing in the middle of it with wings, and then this energy coming out of their chest. And I saw this symbol in my mind. Excuse me. And so then I came out of the meditation, and I was like, I think I need a new sweatshirt. I've never said that. It was just a feeling I had. So I get on Amazon, and then I think actually Anne looked up like sacred geometry, astral projection hoodies. This was the first one that popped up. This is literally the symbol that I saw. And in the picture that
Wow.
I actually drew wings. Guys, this
Wow.
stuff is real. Yeah, it's crazy. And it just so happened that I was actually practicing astral projection techniques. But this symbol also couples with the experience I just told you about. Like, this is, in sense, like the power that we have to use is really project our energy and use our energy responsibly in ways, like this. So this hoodie represents multidimensional consciousness being embodied through the human form, learning how to move outside of the human form and into other spaces and time.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Amazing. I love that connection that you just made.
Yeah, I was like, wait, we just this that, yeah. My brain was like, overload.
It's all connected.
Yeah, it's
Wow.
all connected. It's so
Oh, and
beautiful.
and I just to kind of bring it to a little bit of a circle here. What you mentioned all beings having an experience, the unified field consciousness.
Mm,
And I want to highlight that because there is a message that came through at the beginning of the whole world going through this shift,
mm,
that humans are now meant to learn uh, to vibrate with the frequency of the earth, and to
yes.
recognize that we are one, and that we are
Mm,
one
mm,
doesn't
mm.
mean just humans. It means
Right.
literally everything,
Woo, say it.
including this. Like, we're not even just including, I'll show you all the things in my office, including, we are one. We are one. There
Right.
is no,
There's no
so
other.
unified field consciousness is such a perfect term. And I'm going to write that down because I want to
Yeah.
start using that
Well,
unified field consciousness.
and if I can offer meditation to assist people with that, and how I actually came into that understanding, because you're exactly it. So there's a mantra meditations that have been coming through that have been very, very powerful, very supercharged, straight from source. I'm not even kidding. Like, the wisdom that's been coming is really powerful. And one of those mantras is, I'm one with all levels of consciousness. And then
Okay.
I'm one with all states of being. Okay. There's only one way that those mantras are true, right? And when you really start to recite them, and you really say those and meditate on what that means, I'm one with all levels of being. Well, how is that possible?
Mm.
If you are within all beings, you are that one within the one. You see what I'm saying?
Mm.
So when people, anyone listening or watching this, whenever you say these mantras, there's no trying to figure them out. There's no, say them with your heart. Feel the energy that's surrounded with them, that's encased with them, because this mantra is an activation. It's a light technology.
Yeah.
Really, it's
Mm-hmm.
a psychic, uh, telepathic light technology that activates higher functions within your thinking process. When you say this statement, you are attuning yourself to the vibration of that statement.
Beautiful. And I'm
It's
going to, for
mhm,
people listening, I'm going to get those statements and put them in the description of the
perfect,
podcast and the YouTube video so that you have access to those. So I just wanted to let everybody know.
perfect.
And also, that can be something that's included in the thing that you're giving away to people,
Oh,
so
so I'll
that
save
they
the
have
meditation
that.
for that. I'm gonna save the
Yeah.
meditation for that. Yes, cool, good
Yeah.
catch.
Okay.
Yeah,
We're figuring it all out right in this
yeah.
moment.
There you go. No, that's
I
so
love
perfect. That's so perfect. Actually, that's awesome. I love it.
it.
So
Okay.
I'll remind me after to the meditation piece
Shift it.
for unity consciousness. Okay.
Okay. I love that. I love that. That's what it's going to be then.
Mm,
So, can you talk about projects that you're working on now? I know we just got like so amped up. I know people want, yeah, I know
mhm,
people want to, there are going to be a lot of people listening to this who want
mm,
to learn all of these things. So, can you guide them into how they can work with you more? And by the way, it's
mm.
1010 on my computer and 100% charged. So I thought that was really cool. Binary code.
Oh my God, it's everywhere. That's beautiful. It's everywhere. Thank you.
Yeah.
Honestly, and that's just a sign. Like we talked about the other day, are not synchronistic whenever you're in the flow. It's just,
Yeah.
of course, it's 10-10, like because I'm
Right.
flowing,
Right.
right?
Yeah.
So yes, I can let people know. So www.peacefulhumanadvancement.com is the website, and I'm going to summarize this the best I can. So what I am is a multidimensional guide, right? And I offer different services that meet people where they are on their journey. One of those services, the most popular, is inner light energy tuning, where I use my abilities as all the clairs. I'm just all the clairs, and then remote viewing, telepathy, and we do a brief aura scan. And you can be. It doesn't matter where you are in the world. Or this technology is timeless. It doesn't matter. Distance is an issue. So we scan your aura. If there's anything physical going on with your body, I can pick up on that. So I work with the ETs, I work with the light beings. They
Mhm.
allow me to see these things. It's all the same field of consciousness, but we're all separated in our different forms. But we offer the service to people. And what this does, if there's an element in someone's body, I will know it, and I'll get notes on how that person can remedy it. And often these people are kind of in tears of like how this is known. I was doing like brain surgery with a woman, and she's like, "It felt like my brain was tingling." I'm like, "Yeah, I saw that."
Yeah.
And it's so powerful, Alice. And this is really going to be the new medical system,
I
right?
love
Is
that.
this kind of energy work that even I know you do too as medical intuitive, right?
Mhm.
So that's inner light energy tuning. We also meet you on the emotional level. Really, it's a packaged thing. So go check it out on the website. I teach
Yes.
telepathy. I
Mhm.
teach.
I
I
do
offer
want to like ask
multidimensional
people.
guidance.
It's
What's
funny
that?
because this isn't live, but I want to ask people like raise your hand if you want to learn telepathy because I can
It's
just as you're saying these things, I can feel the energy of people wanting to learn it. So yay,
yes.
I love
I
that. Go
teach.
ahead if you're at
Yes.
home by yourself, raise your hand if you want to learn
Raise it up.
telepathy.
Raise two hands. Yeah. So
And
I.
go to peacefulhumanadvancement.com. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay,
So
continue, please.
yeah, so I teach telepathy. Again, this technique was taught to me through the ETs. I actually asked if they could teach me. It's called the Slingshot Method. It's really very powerful. I'm learning more and more about it as I go along myself. Multidimensional guidance. So we just meet one-on-one, and you ask me anything about your journey, where you're at, if you're a starseed, anything. Um, Beginner's meditation, advanced manifestation and creation techniques I offer. So there's a little bit for everyone. There's a
Yeah.
simple $20 question and answer. If you just have like, hey, I had an experience, I don't know what's going on. We'll chat for a couple moments. So yeah, a little bit for everyone.
Amazing.
Oh,
And you have a
yeah,
retreat coming up.
yeah,
Yeah.
go ahead.
Yeah,
No,
yeah, I'm there. I'm here. I'm hearing you.
you got it. So that's kind of the work I do personally, like within this is my life's work, is offering peaceful human advancement and the services that come through it on the website. The retreat, UHA weekend, United Human Alliance.
Mm,
This is going to create such a ripple through humanity. I can already feel it. I already know it. So we have PHA, Peaceful Human Advancement. I've been shown and told UHA is the next step. So once
okay.
people learn how to become ambassadors, right, they are now ready to do this as a collective, right? So United Human Alliance what we're offering is a weekend where people are coming together at Chatham, New York, in this beautiful 6,000 square foot home with 26 acres. It's like,
Wow.
it's amazing. Yeah. And I'll be teaching you contact protocols, cosmic cosmology. We're going to have yoga, meditation. Some beautiful musicians are showing up. So Pleiades, who's one of the up and coming cosmic artists here, Brad and his band, and what else are we doing? Arcturian healing. So Isabel is going to be offering Arcturian healing sessions. So this retreat is meant for you if you're ready to establish your foundation and roots into new earth. So that's the tagline, is grounding higher frequencies into new earth. So we have people from all over the country coming. Someone's coming from Utah, people are coming from down south. So yeah, tickets are online. They're still on sale. Not on sale, but they're being sold right now.
Right.
Just to clarify. Yeah.
So how can, if somebody wants to sign up for UHA weekend, how do they sign up for that?
They can go to, again, the website, www.peacefulhumanadvancement.com. You need to hit RSVP, I think, like 2 or 3 times to bring you to the ticket page. We have private rooms. I think all the shared rooms actually sold out.
Amazing.
Yeah, which is, I can't even, it's been such a journey. It's crazy. All the shared rooms are sold out. We have camping still available. But we also have the all-day Saturday pass, which gives you access to all the performers, the food, all the events, and then you can choose to stay the night into the next morning if you want to. But we have different packages, like I said. So the shared room, gone. Private room, so if you and your partner want to come, we can talk about the finances behind that, and then the camp out. And then the last piece about the weekend is, if you can't make it physically, but I highly recommend, because that's the whole point,
right,
is to get off of Instagram and off of the phones and in person, giving each other hugs and eating food together. But if you can't do that, we're offering a virtual service. So we're going to actually be Zooming it, some of the sessions from the weekend. So you can purchase a ticket for that.
Amazing.
Yeah.
So it's fun. Accessible to just everyone. I love that.
It's free energy. It's the way to go. It's the only way to go now.
Amazing. Oh, thank you, Chris. So I love all of that. And if you heard all of that and you want some more information, I'll be sure and put all of Chris's contact information in the description to this video and also on the podcast. So check on that. And you have a free giveaway that you're also doing, correct?
Yes. So I'm giving a free giveaway. So it's going to be a few different things. I'm going to give you 9 keys to living a 5D life in a transitioning 3D world. I'll share kind of guidance from that. And then also I'm going to share this meditation I was just about to tell you about, to really help you and assist you in remembering your unified state of being with all things. So this meditation has transformed my life very, very quickly, very shortly. It's brought in tremendous amounts of abundance, financially, physically, just all of it. So I'll be sharing that with you all as the giveaway. I'm trying to think if there's anything else. Any other questions, Allison?
So to get the giveaway, they just go to your website, correct? Do you have a URL for that, or just go to your website?
Yeah. So you can go to the website. I'll probably put it up on the website. I'll make a little separate section for it. I'll make sure that everyone knows. Yeah, I'll keep it as simple as possible for everybody.
Awesome. And I'll make sure and put the link in the description.
Awesome.
I love that. Thank you for sharing all of that. I know we could talk forever and ever and ever. Amen.
I know. We literally could. But
yes.
I've appreciated this so much. I say life and light to you and everyone who's going to watch this. Yeah. And everyone, remember the message that came through the phone from the galactics is, listen to yourself. They cannot control you and they cannot hurt you. You are a free being. You're a powerful being. This is the truth.
Beautiful.
Hugs for you.
I know. Hugs for you too.
All right, star friends.
Thank you so much for being on here. And everyone who's listening, get in contact with Chris.
Yes.
And get in contact with your heritage and your true power.
Yeah, look up more. Yeah, just look up more, honestly. all of it. Woo!
Mm. All right. Well, take care, everybody, and I can't wait to talk soon. Okay,
Yeah.
bye-bye.
Bye. Thank you.